and welcome back to
Inspired a Game. I'm Sean.
And I'm Lola. And if you like what you see here, please support our channel by subscribing down below. Interesting, right now we are at 95 subscribers while we record this, and we're hoping to reach 100, our very first milestone, by the end of the month. If we do that, I'm going to be extra happy because the end of the month is my birthday. So please subscribe if you haven't.
And if you're already subscribed, you might want to hit the notification bell so you know when we drop our next video.
So today we're talking about Tindaya. We just recently received this, and I'm really excited about this game. So we'll talk about, sorry, I get so excited, I just want to go right into that. Tindaya is a 1 to 4 player Euro style game that can be played competitively or cooperatively. And what's really interesting about that is even if you're playing competitively, you have to play very cooperatively as well. You have to work together in order to survive.
It's set in the Canary Islands in the 15th century. The European invasion has begun. The Conquistadors have already got a fort somewhere in the archipelago. And you and your tribes are just trying to live your lives the way you always have, collecting your resources, appeasing the gods, and you basically just want to keep control of your lands and get the Conquistadors out of there.
So you begin the game with a couple of tribes and a couple of skills to begin with. Throughout the game, you're going to want to learn new skills and develop inventions to better increase your productivity. By doing this, you also release more action cubes so you can do more things within the era. The game runs within 3 eras, begins with seeing what catastrophes are going to be unleashed by the 2 gods, as well as if there's going to be a volcano or tsunami, or if more conquistador ships are going to land. There's a strategy phase where you both plan, or all the players plan together, what they are going to do to survive that era at the very end, because at the end of the era is when all the nasty stuff is going to happen. So you create your strategy, then you move into your actions phase where you're going to be doing things like building new settlements, learning new skills, traveling around, gathering resources. Along the way, in order for those catastrophes to not be too bad, you're going to need to appease your gods. How you're going to do that is by providing them offerings. For each round, they have a set number of offerings that will appease them. You can produce those and offer to them up at a volcano. If you don't have enough, you can use a human sacrifice instead of the resource, kind of like a wild card. If you've captured some conquistadors, you can use them. That's always fun. But if you don't, you can always use your own tribe. And that will work as well. Because if you don't appease the gods, they are going to be very wrathful at the end. And how much wrath they have will determine how big a consequence their effects will have. Say, for instance, if a volcano is going to be happening, if the Acoran isn't very wrathful, it's only going to affect 1 round of hexes. If he's more wrathful, it's going to involve more hexes and more land. Same thing with the tsunamis.
So to help you strategize what you're going to do during an era, you get prophecies at the beginning. Now you have to provide the seers with wood for their bonfire, and then one of the seers will tell you where things are going to happen. The other one will tell you when things are going to happen.
Yeah, and if you don't give them the wood they need, then you don't get to find that out. So it's really helpful to find that out because you need to know that information in order to survive. Or it's really helpful to know that information in order to survive.
And I actually asked you last night, would it be better to know that a tsunami was going to happen somewhere? Or would it be better to know that this island is going to get hit with something? Yeah, is it better to know what's going to hit you, or
you got to know where? That's the most important thing, because it doesn't matter if it's way on the other side of the archipelago. Okay. Now, I got to say, I love this game. I love this game so much. So I love everything about it. The theme is really immersive. It's really there. The art is absolutely gorgeous in this in our edition. This is a Kickstarter deluxe edition, which has the minis. So if you get it from retail, it won't have the minis. You'll have standees instead. But
Yeah,
they are
you
very
remember
nice.
if you've seen one of our other videos, you know that we love our deluxified components.
So they're very nice as well. The minis do really make it pop, though. It's very immersive. The whole thing is very immersive, and the best thing about it is the balance that's required. The balance with the land. You can't take too much from the land, or you're going to be penalized. You can't overproduce. If you overproduce too much food, more food than your tribes can eat, then you're going to be penalized, because Acoran will be very upset and wrathful because you've been wasting resources. If you haven't created that extra cave to support additional villagers, then Moneiba is very upset because somebody's going to die of exposure and homelessness. So you have to.
She's not the one that killed him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because she's okay if you give up one of your people as like a sacrifice, a human sacrifice. But but you can't
Leave them
starve
out in
them.
the cold. Yeah, you're in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot going on with this, and I love the anti-colonialism aspect of it too. So in so many modern board games, you get that as a theme of going in and conquering and collecting all the resources and destroying the ecosystem, and this is the opposite of all that. You play those original tribes that have these colonizing forces coming in to overtake them, and you have to try to keep your home, and you have to try to keep your tribes alive. You have to keep in balance with the land itself. And it's so immersive with the natural catastrophes that are happening around you as well. So at the beginning, you know what's going to happen, and there can be some bad luck with maybe what's happening is right on your islands, right where all your people are, and you have to spend most of your era just trying to get out of the way and save yourself, and not having as much time to develop new skills and new inventions and such. And that's some pretty bad luck in that way, but it feels really real in that aspect that things happen, right? Natural disasters happen, and you have to find a way to deal with them. And that's the strategy, is finding the way to deal with that that's best for you.
Yeah, I had a tough time in our first game because I was thinking of this as the colonizing type of game where you want to roll right in and you're going to gather all the resources you can at the beginning, and you'll use them for something later on. But then to realize that I can only gather 8 resource tiles as I go, and now I'm suddenly thinking, oh, well, I've got more wood than I need. Maybe I should have grabbed stone back at the beginning. Well, it's too late now. So that idea that now you have to think ahead to don't take too much from the land than what you need, don't produce more than what you need. It's a very refreshing look at strategy games, instead of just take what you can get as soon as you can get it and then deal with the consequences afterwards. This is really asking you to flip that around, like it flipped the theme around as well.
And that balance is really needed, and in that way as well, you really have to work with everybody around the table. Even if you're playing a competitive game, you will not survive if you don't work together. You need to be teaching out each other skills so that you get enough resource tokens to actually move and develop new inventions that allow you to have additional actions. You have to work together. Sometimes you have to barter in order to appease the gods. You have to work together to make those ends meet. Otherwise, you'll have wrathful, vengeful gods that will destroy you and everything you love.
Yeah, make them too mad, and it's a super volcano that's going to eat the archipelago, or a tidal wave that's going to wipe out the whole thing. And again, you also have to balance with each other, even in a competitive game, to against the real enemy to everybody, which is the conquistadors. You have to have more villagers in control of settlements than they have in control of forts. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter how many points or influence you have in that competitive game, you are all going to lose.
Yeah, and other lose conditions, like you need to have a settlement of each tribe needs to have a settlement at the end of the game still intact. Everybody has to have at least one villager and at least one noble still alive. And you can never fully enrage to the apocalyptic level either of your gods, because that's an instant lose. So there's a lot of different things to manage. Each game will have its own unique objective for that game that you need to meet, whether you have to capture a certain amount of conquistadors or you have to have a certain amount of villagers at the end, or whichever. So there's additional things there. It's quite a puzzle to work out the different turns and how to avoid everything and how to make everything work out. You have to calculate out your food very specifically each turn before you're producing it, because if you have that extra, you don't want to be creating waste that's going to enrage Acoran. So all of this has to be taken into consideration. Yeah, I found it very engaging. It was like once we started, it was just really hard to stop going from one era and surviving that and feeling so glad.
You can eat later, no worries.
And yeah, exactly. And then on to the next. And yeah, it's a really fantastic game. If you like the look of it, if you like the sound of it, you might want to take a look at picking it up. One thing to note as well, so we played our first game on the easy mode, and they do have a medium and a hard mode, and that's actually really nice. So we did easy, and we went into it thinking, oh my god, we're going to be destroyed, because it really felt like we were going to.
Once you see the first prophecies and realize that, well, she's going to level that island, which is where I've got my one settlement, and the tidal wave is going to wipe out the other one, which is where I have my second settlement.
Yeah,
I guess we're pulling up stakes, guys.
yeah, but it actually wound up being not bad, and we won, and we didn't have too much difficulty in it, which is good for an easy level. So that means we can move on to the medium level and feel confident in rising up to that additional challenge. But it makes it nice to have that variability too for the kind of game that you want to play. So sometimes you just want it easy and slide, but even still, it was not easy. It was still hard, and we worked hard for our win.
So if you're still with us, thank you very much for watching all the way through. We really appreciate it. Please support our channel by subscribing down below. Remember, we're trying to hit 100 by the end of the month. That's a happy birthday to Lola over here. Also, check out some of our other videos, and thanks for being around.
Thanks so much, guys, and happy gaming.
Thanks for being around. Thanks for being around.
So don't be square, be around.